So you're doing home improvement work in the great state of Maryland. You probably know there are some rules to follow, but are you aware of the one magic number that changes absolutely everything? Yep, $500. That's the number. The moment a home improvement project is valued at $500 or more, the state of Maryland says, hold on, you need to be licensed. It's this key threshold that triggers a whole bunch of official requirements. So let's break them down. And that's what this is all about. Welcome to our quick guide for contractors in Maryland. We're going to break down exactly what you need to know to get licensed with the Maryland Home Improvement Commission, also known as the MHIC, so you can get to work legally and with total confidence. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll run through the full MHIC licensing checklist. Then, we'll take a much closer look at something called a surety bond. After that, we'll see how Maryland's rules stack up against its neighbors. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a simple 3-step plan to get you licensed. All right, let's jump right in. First up, the big one, the official checklist. This is everything the Maryland Home Improvement Commission is going to ask for when you put in your application. As you can see, it's pretty comprehensive. You're going to need to prove you have 2 years of real, verifiable experience. Your business has to be officially registered in Maryland. You'll also need a general liability insurance policy for at least $500,000, plus workers' comp, unless you qualify for an exemption. And then there's a criminal background check, and you see that last one? A $30,000 surety bond, which might be required. We're definitely going to dive into that next. So let's focus on that last point, the surety bond. We're giving this its own section because, honestly, it's often the most confusing part of the whole licensing process for a lot of people. So what's the deal with this thing? Why does the MHIC even care if you have a surety bond? Well, it all boils down to your financial stability. Here's the core of it. The bond is basically a financial guarantee. If the state commission isn't 100% convinced of your financial solvency, they require you to get a bond. Think of it as an extra layer of financial protection for your clients. The required bond amount is a flat $30,000. Now, before you panic at that number, that is not what you will actually pay. Not even close. It's just the total amount of coverage that the bond provides. Maryland actually has this really unique 2-tier system for protecting consumers. The bond is the first line of defense. But let's say a claim is larger than what the bond can cover. Well, that's when the state's Home Improvement Guarantee Fund kicks in to provide more coverage. It's a pretty robust model. Okay, this is the million-dollar question. Or, I guess, the $30,000 question. If the bond is for that much, what's the actual out-of-pocket cost going to be for you, the contractor? The price you actually pay is called the premium, and it's just a small percentage of that $30,000 amount, based mostly on your credit score. If you look at the table, someone with excellent credit could pay as little as $300 a year. And hey, even if your credit isn't perfect, you can still get a bond. The cost will just be a bit higher. All right, let's zoom out for a minute. It's always helpful to get some perspective by seeing how Maryland's requirements compare to its neighbors, like Virginia and Washington, D.C. You can see that a 2-year license term is pretty standard across the board. Maryland's project threshold of $500 is a bit lower than Virginia's, but the biggest, most important difference is sitting right there in that first row. This is the crucial point right here. Unlike Virginia and Washington, D.C., Maryland does not require you to pass an exam for its home improvement license. That is a huge advantage. It removes a major hurdle and saves you a ton of time and stress. Okay, let's bring it all home. We've gone through the requirements and put it all in context. So now, here's your simple 3-step action plan to getting that MHIC license. Step 1, the MHIC looks over your application to figure out if you even need the surety bond. Step 2, if you do, you just apply for your bond online. It's a really quick process, and you can often get approved the same day. And Step 3, you file that bond with the MHIC, finish up the rest of your application, and then you're in the home stretch. Just be patient, as final processing can take about 4 to 6 weeks. And if the MHIC does tell you that you need that bond, your next step is easy. You can just head over to buysuretybonds.com. You can get a free quote in just a few minutes and get the whole process started right away. So we'll leave you with this to think about. With its combo of a surety bond and a state-run guarantee fund, is Maryland's 2-tier system a model that other states should be looking at? It's a pretty compelling approach, and it really shows how seriously the state takes protecting its homeowners. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.